Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 65 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. This week we're going to take a look back at our 0-0 draw with Mansfield on Tuesday night, our amazing win at Crawley on the weekend, and more specifically Arthur Okonkwo's performance, and Andy Cannon's red card. We're going to have a little chat about that one because that one's been winding me up on social media. We're also going to have a look ahead at our EFL trophy game with Crewe and our league game with Salford, which is on my birthday.
Yeah.
It is really good birthday for me to be back at the racecourse. Really good. Siân's going to have another crack at the quiz this week. She's been doing quite well, to be fair to you.
We don't have a guest on this week, so I'm all on my own.
You're all on your own. So it'll be interesting to see how you do without the sort of pressure of having somebody to beat.
Is it the same sort of quiz?
Same sort of quiz, yeah.
All right, okay.
Not deviating from the format, don't worry.
Okay.
And then the usual stuff. We're going to have a little chat about Welcome to Wrexham as well. The most latest update. Update. Oh God, I'm all over the place. The latest episode that's been on this week. We'll have a little chat about that. So Mansfield, let's start there before we go anywhere else. Mendy came in.
He did.
For obviously Barnett suspended at the moment after his red card. Mendy came in, no Ford. Not really much news about Ford, has there? It's a little bit odd. We assumed he was injured because he wasn't in the matchday squad the sort of week before. Obviously, he is injured because he'd be the natural replacement for Barnett.
It's not obvious he's injured.
Well, no, it is really because I don't think you'd put Mendy in there if Ford's fit. So, so Ford obviously isn't fit. Mendy come in. I think one thing I did notice about Mendy on Tuesday night was he is very left-footed. Lots of clearances he could have made with his right, and he sort of contorted his body round to make sure he played them.
Is he naturally left-footed?
Yeah, he's a left-footer. So
that's gonna,
Yeah, so he's, as professional footballers, you'd always like to think that they're quite ambi-footed, whatever the word is for it. They can play with both feet. But a lot of players naturally go on to their stronger foot, which he did quite a bit. Does that cause a problem? Maybe a little bit defensively because you're very left-sided and you're having to adjust. You've probably played most of your career on the left and now you're on the right and it's a little bit of an adjustment. Attacking-wise, I don't really think it is to the detriment, really, because you get a lot of, like Mo Salah, for example. I know we're not in the same league, but Mo Salah is left-footed, but he always plays on the right. Because when you're attacking, players like to cut in and use their stronger foot, and it's just a different dynamic. Or go on the outside, and it's good to be good on both feet. So I don't think going forward it's a massive detriment. What do you think of Mendy?
I like him. Yeah. I do. Do you mean in general, or do you mean on Tuesday?
The question sounded like I meant in general, but what I meant was Tuesday night against Mansfield.
Well, obviously, we've only watched the highlights because obviously it was... Oh, no, we did. We watched the game on Tuesday. It was an evening game.
It was an evening... Yes, we did watch it.
We did watch it.
We've got to be careful what we say about what games we watch, but that one is allowed. So, yes, we watched the game on Tuesday.
We did watch it. I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Obviously being a new fan, I didn't notice all the intricacies like you did, obviously. But for me, as a whole, I think Mendy is a really, really good player. And I think that he's, a bit more time maybe practicing being ambi-footed, as you put it.
So not a word, but it's not. It's stuck now.
I suppose it is ambidextrous for hands and feet.
Is it?
I don't know.
Let's not get hung up on it.
Let's not. I like Mendy. I think he's a good player. I think he played okay on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't really got any negative thing. I never have anything negative to say about the players because I love them all.
Yeah, I've got something negative to say shortly, but we'll come on to that. So James Jones and George Evans retained their place in midfield.
Rightly so.
Yeah, I thought they They played all right together. First half, what?
George Evans was a bit.
What was a bit?
I don't know. He just seemed a bit. I've seen a lot on social media, and again, this irritates the life out of me. People being so not degrading, but just horrible about players. It's just like, oh my God, they've had one off day. It's like, just give the bloke a chance. I
think Mansfield come out in the first half. They're a very fit team. They were pressed very high. They realised that we are quite slow and methodical when it comes to build-up play. We like playing it around the back. We're very slow with that. We're very measured with that. We like having time on the ball. We like playing through phases. Oh, okay, it's gone into midfield. There's no option to move it forward. We've got no issue with coming back. And if the defenders have got to turn around and play it back to the goalkeeper, we've got no issue with that as well. We will take our time.
Yep.
And we will build up however we need to build up. That's the way that we play, and that's fine. I've got no issue with that if that's what your game plan is. Mansfield very much knew that, and they pressed us high. They pressed us in 2s and 3s, and they didn't give us any time to play the way we normally played. The knock-on effect of that was we were launching long balls here, there, and everywhere. Now, if you're playing long balls, fine, okay. That sometimes that works, okay. But at least you've got to be playing the long ball in the general direction of one of the forwards. And on Tuesday night, that in the first half, that didn't happen.
It was just a kick and see, wasn't it?
It was. There was such long, just hoof ball, just anywhere. And I think that's fair play to Mansfield for me, because I think you put a team under so much pressure, and they just want to get rid of the ball as opposed to trying to play it either into midfield or up to the strikers. We just wanted to get rid of it.
Do you think then, because obviously teams are kind of, like you said, Mansfield kind of knew that we were methodical and do you think that we are becoming a very predictable, our play is very much predictable?
Do you know what? That is an excellent question.
Thank you.
That is
it's not even down on the notes. That just came from my head.
That is a very good question, and I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Because we do play a certain way, and we play that certain way, that certain formation, pretty much all the time. I don't think teams have to do a large amount of homework to suss out how we're playing. Sometimes we increase the intensity. Sometimes we do press high. Although generally we play the same way all the time. And yes, you're probably right. It is predictable. And managers, when they're coming up against Wrexham, although the personnel changes, I don't think we've quite worked out our best 11 at the moment. Although the personnel changes, the tactics and generally don't change.
No.
I've said the word generally a lot of times in the last 2 minutes, so I'm going to try and steer away from that. But yeah, I think, the level of homework you've got to do when you're playing us is probably quite easy, I would say.
Alfie would love to be a manager.
Our son would.
Minimal homework.
Absolute minimal homework if you can play Wrexham every week. We had 2 centre halves on the bench.
Yeah.
And Parky decided to play a midfielder in defence.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Weird. Weird. Did it work?
Look, Tom O'Connor's very, very versatile, and when he plays in defence, fair play to him. does all right. You know, he does. I don't think he looks ridiculously out of place. Not a lot of people moan about him playing in defence. He's very assured playing in that position. But he's not a defender, is he? And if players are fit enough to be sat on the bench,
Who are defenders.
who are actual defenders,
Why not play them?
why not play them?
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, let's get them in the team. Let's see where their fitnesses are. It just seems so strange to me to do that and not play one of them was just odd. I get that their fitness might not be quite at the level, but to do that was just a little bit strange to me. And we've had this conversation a lot in the past. FA Trophy final again. We had you know, I know I'm harking back a while here,
Just a tad.
but we had Tom O'Connor in defence with centre halves on the bench. And it seems to be a recurring theme. I would guess, I don't know how Tom O'Connor feels about it either, you know, because he's not a defender, he's a midfielder, and he wants to showcase his talents as a midfielder,
yeah.
not as some sitting, covering defender
Floater.
because we haven't got a centre half. And we've had this issue before, where we've had you know, injuries to centre halves, and then we've ended up having to put maybe Tom O'Connor in there, or we've had to bring Max, who's very young, into the team because we didn't have enough cover.
Yeah.
So we've gone out and we've bought centre halves to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. But it's still happening, and I don't understand it.
There may be a reason. Like you said, fitness maybe.
So let's talk about Arthur.
Oh, I love Arthur.
You do. I think we've watched 2 games this week, and on both occasions you've said, on more than once during the game, you've said, "Oh, I love Arthur.
I do.
He's great."
I just think he's like Stretch Armstrong. He's just. Do you know my nickname for him?
Yeah.
I did a post yesterday after the on Saturday after the Crawley game, because I just thought he needed an appreciation post.
Yes.
Because he's just so good. And my nickname for him is the BFG, the big friendly goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I think, you know, he's just so good. And I don't know whether it's because, sorry, my legs are sticking to the chair. I don't know whether it's because he's younger than Mark Howard. So he's kind of, because obviously we've spoken before about goalkeepers and about like that they could be like not old-fashioned goalkeepers, but there's like different ways that goalkeepers that are coming through now are coached.
Yes.
And I think it's good to see the difference. I mean, Mark Howard, I love Mark Howard still, you know.
Okay, I'm just going to cut you right off.
You're going to say who would I choose?
Yeah, out of the 2, you like Mark.
I like Mark.
I like Mark as well. You've seen Arthur. You said you really like Arthur. If there was no, but Arthur's played a couple. Fresh start. Draw a line under everything that's gone before, based on what you've seen. Next game, who plays? Arthur. You're right. Well, in my opinion, you're right. I think you've got to play him. You've got to, because I think Mark's got more experience, and
which obviously Arthur can learn from.
Yeah, and I think that comes across in some of the decision making sometimes, that Mark does have more experience.
Yeah.
Although Arthur can make saves that Mark can't.
Because he's Stretch Armstrong.
Or
Inspector Gadget.
He made a couple of good saves. Keylor Dunn had a header which was straight at him in the first half, and really he probably should have scored, but you know, it was there. His positioning was good. I have questioned his positioning on a couple of things in the past, but his positioning was good. I would like to see him come for balls more, because
that's dangerous though.
He's so big and he's so commanding in the air that there are just a couple of times where it's like, you know, when you see a ball coming into the box and it looks a little bit 50-50, I think Arthur could be coming, claiming them, and just, and it breaks down an attack and it stops them having a chance, but be it a header, a challenged header, unchallenged, whatever. I would like to see him a little bit more on the front foot. His positioning is been very good the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Once or twice his positioning slightly off. I think I mentioned about the Crewe goal, the first Crewe goal. He got beat really on his near post. But I'm saying negative things here, but I'm very happy with Arthur. I really am happy with him, and I think he's going to be a very good goalkeeper. Where I don't want to get too carried away is a lot of people going, oh yeah, we can really build something with Arthur. We can move forward with Arthur. He could, all this sort of stuff that's coming out. I agree with it all. I think sometimes people need to take stock of the situation. Yes, he could be fantastic for us, but he doesn't belong to us.
I was going to say, we're kind of building him up and stuff like that. He's on loan for the whole season.
Yeah.
So we've got him obviously for this season, and potentially he could get us to obviously League One, help us get to League One. Sorry. But then what happens at the end of this season? He's obviously, if he's playing every single game, he's obviously going to be building up that experience. He's obviously going to be, showing what he can do.
Yep.
And Arsenal are possibly going to go, right, we want you back. Well, no, actually, not possibly. More than likely, they're going to say, right, loan over. And I don't. He plays for Arsenal, which is a Premier League team.
Yeah, that's our one saving grace here, is that he plays for a team who have currently playing with David Raya in goal, and the backup at the moment is Aaron Ramsdale, who again, international goalkeeper, superb. I mean, a lot of clubs would cut off their right arm to have Aaron Ramsdale. So they've got two high quality goalkeepers and a couple of good backups. Is Arthur getting in that setup, in that squad? Probably not. No.
So potentially.
But
can we afford him?
Not necessarily even that. It doesn't really matter if we can afford him or not, because if they're willing, Arsenal want to hold on to him long term, but they've got no place for him in their squad, they might loan him back to us again.
Yeah,
there is always the risk that at the end of the season he's gone though, and that's what people need to remember. I think, is he a long-term solution? Maybe not. But he's playing very well.
I hope he stays.
He made a lot of good saves. He tipped one onto the post, didn't he? All in all, I think if you'd offered me a point at half time, I would have snapped your hand off. I really would have, because they were all over us. I would say
they did play well, Mansfield. To be fair,
they had a couple of Kilo Dunn had a couple of decent attempts. Obviously, ex-Wrexham player. They had the guy in midfield who looked like Clinton Baptiste from Phoenix Knights, the one with the blonde hair and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what his name was now. Whenever I just thought about him, I just thought of Clinton Baptiste. Is he the
one? Is he the psychic?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't want to be referred to as him, do you?
Not really, but that's what he looked like. We didn't create anything, and we didn't really trouble them. Second half, Ollie flashed a bit of a header wide, didn't he? That was our sort of one chance that I remember. Arthur made another couple of decent saves as well. Another one slight thing I've noticed about Arthur is he doesn't maybe talk enough. What you want every time they get a shot in, you want your goalkeeper screaming at the defence, telling them, right, this is what you did wrong, this is what you did wrong, you need to get tighter to your man, you need to drop in a little bit. They can see everything, and your goalkeeper is the mouthpiece for that defence.
Well, yeah, we've listened to the likes of Ben Foster and Rob Langton and Mark Howard. And...
Yeah, it's about communication, and I think that's
Does
one.
Does that come with experience, though?
I think he should be doing that now.
Yeah.
He should be communicating with that defence, and he should be loud, and he should be the one person that you can hear above everybody else communicating.
I have heard him shouting.
Yeah, I know, but maybe he doesn't do it enough.
Maybe not.
But
again, that might come with time.
Yes.
He's still kind of bedding himself in, isn't he?
He is. Mansfield hit the post right at the end, didn't they? But it was we were better in the second half. But I think we were, if you look at the game as a whole, we were probably very much second best.
And
in
lucky
that game.
to come away with a point.
Elliot Lee. On Tuesday,
I think he had a bit of an off day.
He looked like he was wearing 50p boots, to be honest. Everything bounced off him. His short passing, his long passing was poor. We did sort of talk about maybe he's a bit worried about that 5th yellow card and getting suspended for a game because he's on 4 at the moment. So maybe that, but he had a particularly poor game. The one question I was going to ask, he was poor pretty much all the way through. Mm-hmm. I don't like being horrible about Elliot Lee, but he had a very poor day at the office, I would say. With 25 minutes to go, Jordan sitting on the bench, maybe a good opportunity to get him on and get him some minutes.
Yeah, well, he didn't, did he?
He didn't, and I think it's a little bit of a worry, I would say, of why aren't we? Jordan's fit. Jordan can play. He plays it. He can play in that position. Why not just do something? Throw something else into the mix. And I think it was with Elliot having a bad game, Jordan sitting there, it was a perfect opportunity for me to actually.
Again, you just don't know what's kind of going on behind the dressing room door, do you? And what's in Parky's mind.
No.
So maybe I don't. It's a tough one. I mean, maybe Elliot Lee should have gone off and had a bit of a rest, but he didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't.
No, thanks for that insight. So Crawley, Saturday, no Tozer.
No. And he wasn't on the bench either. I think he possibly. I said to you, didn't I, when we I'm sure something happened at the Mansfield game where he'd sort of his foot sort of went from under him, and I was thinking maybe that's kind of had a bit of an effect on him, and he's not massively injured, but he's sort of resting it maybe. Obviously, again, nothing's been announced by the club.
No, he's had a couple of poor games though, hasn't he? So is it a case of just giving him a little rest away? We know he can play every game. Let's be honest, without being horrible, he doesn't move that much. He's the central sort of pivot in that back.
But he does.
No. What I mean is his positioning is very much the middle of a back three. So he is, he's collecting the ball and he's looking right, he's looking left. Your right and your left centre halves are the ones that are doing most of the movement, which is why he's able to get so many games in at. He's not old, but at more advanced years, he will continue to play a lot of games. Because of he doesn't move that much. Do you know what I mean? So
from my point of view, I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. He's just lost his dad, recently, and I think he's had no real time to grieve. I don't think, and after that interview he did for BBC Sport, it was just that I'm so glad he did that because people are just honestly at him all the time, and it's like, for God's sake, it's just like I'm lucky and I've not lost a parent, but I can imagine it's heart-wrenching and horrible, and when you have to go out and perform in front of tens of thousands of people, it's going to get to you.
Yeah, I get that. So maybe it's just a little rest. Maybe he did, because you mentioned it looked like he'd hurt his ankle, didn't you, in one of the games? So it might have just been precautionary. Owen O'Connell came in. We very much thought he was going to play on the right of the three. He didn't. He played in the middle, where I thought Hayden would probably play without Tozer there. No Luke Young. Mullin was captain. So I thought, a commanding player like Hayden in the middle. We've seen him play in the middle once or twice before. Looks very good, but they decided to put Owen O'Connell in the middle.
He played all right.
He did. I'd got no issue with that. That's fine. He's very much got the skill set to play in that position. Tom O'Connor was in defence again. Of course he was, as a midfielder.
Jordan Davis on the bench.
Yeah, Jordan Davis on the bench. Jones and Evans kept their place.
They did.
Once again.
We had a bit of a disagreement, didn't we, about Hayden and Jones?
A little bit, yes.
We obviously, they don't do man of the match away games, obviously, because that's for the home players. But we had a little discussion, and I did a post yesterday where our opinions on man of the match yesterday differed.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with James Jones because I think that he continually just works that pitch. From the moment the whistle goes.
Work that pitch.
Work that pitch, bitch.
Yeah.
Do you have to beat that out because I just swore?
No, I don't think you really heard it.
No, it's fine. I think he works that pitch from the moment the first whistle goes to that final whistle. Yeah. I think he works. He's like a workhorse.
Yes.
I'm not saying Hayden isn't, because obviously Hayden was your man of the match. But I don't think you had a real reason why you like Hayden. You just love Hayden.
No, it wasn't. I'm not just picking him at random. I thought he had a very good game. He was very solid, very assured. I thought he played very well. I disagree with your man of the match.
We did,
but you disagree with mine, so that's fine. That's
we
what
had
football is.
Obviously, because I did a post, and we had people. Obviously, you had Hayden, Camp Hayden, and also Camp Jones. So it was a very split thing, and I'm sure a lot of other people had opinions on who the man of the match was. But for me, it was James Jones. I think I like James Jones. I think he is an integral part of the team.
Yeah.
I like him. And I like Hayden as well.
Yeah, another one who could be made a couple of bad games and he can be made a scapegoat though, James Jones, which is quite easy to do.
Any of those men in the Wrexham team, first team, can be made a scapegoat, and it will continue to happen for the rest of the season and seasons beyond.
And beyond,
because who else are they going to blame?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we started well. The intensity was higher than Tuesday. The passing was sharper, crisper, and it all looked much better on Saturday. Ollie scored after 16 minutes.
13.
30. Okay, so quite early on.
It was a good goal, though. To be fair,
very good finish. Fair play.
His little feet, just a little.
And playing against another one of his former clubs. I saw a post on Twitter this week which made me laugh. I can't remember who put it on, but they said Ollie Palmer has previously played for every team that we have played this season. Fact. And then just a disclaimer on the bottom. Okay, not a fact, but it does feel like that.
It does.
Yeah, he has played for a fair few clubs. That is very true. But no, again, Ollie was very good on Saturday, I thought.
Yeah.
I think for me, having Stephen Fletcher there has lit a little bit of a fire under him to go, whoa, hang on a minute, I'm not losing my place to you.
I'm not ready to give up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not moving away. You stay on the bench, you come on and you do your little thing. I'm starting these games. And I feel like he's upped his performance.
Yeah.
Very much so, I would say.
And obviously the proof was in the pudding when he did that little kick and the ball went in. I think it was a very good kick. It wasn't Mullen. I can't remember who it was that assisted that goal.
It was McLean's cross.
Was it McLean? That was it, yeah. And do you know what made me made me all warm and fuzzy?
Yeah.
You know when obviously Ollie Palmer scored and Mullen was near the goal, and he ran and they just embraced, and it was like, oh, it's just so cute.
Yeah. No, I thought Ollie had a good game.
He did.
Definitely had a good game.
He did have a good game.
I think we tried to press a bit more on Saturday. There was a little bit, like I say, a bit more intensity. We started to sort of press them. One problem with that is they did seem like they were beating our press quite easily, and the ball ended up in midfield without much effort at all, which is one thing. Yeah, it's okay going and pressing and closing down, but it wasn't the best close and press, because they beat, as I said, they beat the press on numerous occasions quite easily, and they were away. They had a few chances. The most notable was probably from about 4 yards out. The guy put it over the bar.
So Darcy.
I don't know, Mr. Darcy, maybe. I can't remember.
He
was all over the place.
He was all over the place.
Yeah. So they did have chances. That is one of the scenarios where I was talking about before. I'd like to see Arthur be a little bit more commanding, and when the ball's that close in.
Yeah.
Just go and claim it. If you're going to clear out one of your defenders in the process of doing it, that's the name of the game. You've just got to go and claim that ball, and that's the one sort of small area I'd like to see him a little bit more on the front foot and coming to claim stuff like that, because that could have easily gone in. And then if it would have gone in, looking at the way he didn't quite come for that, I think that there'd have been bigger questions around it. As it was, they missed, and we could sort of shrug it off.
They missed quite a lot of goals yesterday.
They did miss it. Yeah, they had a few chances.
Close up as well, not like, long balls. It was literally like
not many, though. Not many. I mean, later on in the game, we did restrict them to sort of long-range efforts. And, they couldn't really craft many chances close in. Mullin went clean through after about 40 minutes. It was bouncing and bouncing, and it just didn't really come down for him properly, but the keeper did make a good save.
Yeah.
To be fair with.
Yeah.
We ended the half with both our fullbacks on yellow cards, which was a slight concern. Mendy and McLean both on yellow cards. Just to talk about McLean, he's talked himself into a yellow card twice now. He talked himself into a yellow card against Crewe.
Yep.
He's talked himself into a yellow card again against Crawley.
Maybe it's just all the teams that start with C.
No, it's just he is known for that.
I think it's just passion, isn't it?
It is, but he just needs to shut his mouth. At some point this is going to come back and bite us, because if you get 3 or 4 cards for arguing with the ref, that's ridiculous. And to then end up going to miss a game, which could well be a really important game.
Yeah.
Who knows when he's going to pick up his another couple of yellow cards? He could miss the Notts County game. He could miss. I don't know, Bradford away. Who knows what it's going to be? But it could be a really important game he's missing for just stupid yellow cards, I think.
So what do you think Parky should do? Who would replace him?
Mendy, who is now injured.
Christ. I was going to say, because maybe Parky kind of doesn't start him for a couple of games, just,
No, you can't do that, I don't think. I think you've got to have a player like McLean in your team, and we've got to start settling on a starting 11 for me, because we're chopping and changing a lot. And, we don't seem to know what our best 11 is. Whereas if you look around the league, a lot of other teams they've got a settled starting 11.
Yeah.
They're not chopping and changing. And I get it might be a little bit a kid in a sweet shop for Parky, because he's got so much talent. And, he's trying to keep everybody happy. But that's not the name of the game in football. You've got to try and settle on an 11. But on that left back, if Mendy, as I said, Mendy went down injured. We're not sure how long he's going to be out. Hopefully he just felt something tighten and he's come off as a precaution.
Yeah.
And hopefully it hasn't gone altogether. But, we do have potentially, it's not where I'd want to see him play, we do have the potential of having Jordan Davis on the left. He did start his career as a left back, so he knows how to play there. We do have options. We do have strength in depth. I would just like to see it as a slightly more sort of settled team, really. Bit of a rip-roaring start to the second half. We had lots of chances, didn't we?
Lee had a chance.
Ollie
Mullin had a chance.
Yeah, Ollie had a chance, which was probably the biggest of them all. A header quite close in. He put it past the post. It was a very good. McLean pulled a shot wide as well.
Yep.
And Palmer had that shot from outside the box, which the keeper had to put round for a corner. And then, so very good. But we were playing very well. And then came the red card for Andy Cannon. Mendy went off injured, as we say. Cannon came on to play at right wing back. He was on the pitch for 6 minutes. And then the incident happened. He dived in for a tackle.
The incident.
It was late. It was sloppy. It was mistimed. Now let's discuss it. Was it a red?
See, this is the thing. I'm not really 100% on, because I put it on social media because I like to know what people think.
Yeah.
Because it probably was. It was probably more of a red card than the Ryan Barnett red card for me.
Do you reckon?
You're going to disagree with me, aren't you?
Completely.
You don't think it was?
No. That's not a red card. I don't care.
No.
Anyone can tell me whatever they want. That's not a red card.
Yellow card, maybe.
Right. The thing that got me is he made the tackle. Like I say, it was late, sloppy, mistimed. All of them, tick, tick, tick. Doesn't make it a red. So the ref is going over to the incident. He goes into his right hand short pocket, which is where he keeps his yellow card. Let's be honest, we saw him get it out enough. We know that's where his yellow card was.
I think I actually saw it in his hand at one point.
No, he didn't. No, he put his hand in his right pocket.
That must have been all the yellow cards we had that day.
Yeah, and 3 Crawley players crowded round him. There was a guy theatrically rolling around on the floor. I'm not saying it didn't hurt, but it looked like he's broken his leg the way he was rolling around. Then he stopped when everyone surrounded him. I thought there was rules about how many players could surround the ref these days, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Anyway, let's move on from that. And then he stopped for a second, changed his mind, got a red out, give him a red card. Okay?
Can I just interrupt before you carry on your little rant?
Yeah.
I think that if it was the other way round and our players had done exactly the same thing as the Crawley players, then he wouldn't have changed his mind.
I disagree because I think he was a very weak referee, and I think whichever way it went, I think he would have done that.
We're just disagreeing quite a lot today, aren't we?
I've seen a lot of people online going, "Yeah, it's a definite red." You're wrong. You're all wrong. I don't care if shoot me down. I don't care. Just because a tackle's late doesn't make it a red. Just because a tackle is mistimed doesn't make it a red. Even if you combine them things, it still doesn't make it a red. How soft has the game gone that is now a red card? Sorry, it was not. If you freeze it, when Cannon starts to dive in to get that ball, the Crawley player is a foot away from that ball. I do not blame him for thinking he could win that ball. In the heat of the moment, I don't blame him for thinking he could win it, right? Although he was completely wrong. And if he had a second to make a judgment, he would have realised he was going to get there late. Regardless of that, when he makes contact with the player, his foot is on the floor. His foot is on the floor. His studs aren't high. It's not going into his ankle or his leg. His foot is flat on the floor. So it's not endangering the player with studs up. For me, if that is a red card, the game's gone for me. The game's gone. I think it's a joke that is a red card. Will it get overturned? No, it won't.
No.
It won't because it's late and because it's mistimed. They're just going to go with it. But it's not a red card. I've seen tackles. You see a tackle like that every week, and it is a yellow all day long, right? And look, it's one of the worst end of the yellows.
Yeah,
it is. But it's not a red card. It's not a red card. And I don't care what anybody says. Shoot me down in flames. I don't care. That is not a red card. It's not. It's just not. It's not. It's not a red card. End of. Let's move on. Anyway, it's a big 3 points in the end with 10 men, I would say. I think there was...
We're doing pretty well with 10 men, aren't we?
Yeah. I know, but it was all them after the red card. I think they very
Yeah.
much put the pressure on. They flashed a few shots in.
But we
My
maintained.
funniest part of the game was the commentary at the point when they went. One of their attackers, and they're going, right, he's tried to chip Okonkwo. Okonkwo would have to be on the halfway line to chip him. I mean, that just made me laugh, and I was like, get lost. You're not getting anything out of this game trying to chip a 6'6" goalkeeper. Anyway, again,
well done for trying, though.
Well done for trying, but it didn't work, did it?
No.
Okonkwo,
You're very angry today.
No, it wound me up, and it wound me up the amount of Wrexham fans going, yeah, unfortunately, it is a red. Yeah, definitely a red. Shut up! It's our player. At the end of the day, stand up for him and look at that again and again and again, and then you'll realise you're wrong. That it's not a red card.
You're wrong.
It's wrong. I think it was more divisive than the Ryan Barnett one, which it astounded me. Absolutely astounded me. I was so surprised at that. Really was.
And it made him in a bad mood all day.
Didn't, because we won, so I don't know. But Arthur was very good again. Another clean sheet for him. And he was very good.
He was good. Shall we move on now after you've had your little
Okonkwo, he's magic in goal. You better believe it. Okonkwo is magic in goal. No, not having that one.
I am.
Yeah.
But not by you singing.
Let's move on. Welcome to Wrexham. Let's talk about that quickly. So we had episode 6, which was Ballers. Ballers. It cemented the theme tune, didn't it, really? Episode 6, bang, we've still got the same theme tune. John Hume.
I've got it. I downloaded it.
It's great.
I was listening to it yesterday.
Love it. And I wish we'd had that in the first season as well, because we started off with Times Are A-Changing. Then we went on to Buddy Holly, didn't we? Every day. And I don't think either of them really worked as a documentary feel and everything about it. This one.
Sing when you're winning.
Yeah.
Don't forget to sing when you win.
This one, yeah, definitely.
Love it.
Love it. I do it.
Listen to it over and over again, so well done. Yeah,
it was a 40-minute episode about the women's team. We found out that Rosie Hughes was a prison officer, which I did know, but I only found that out earlier in the week because she did a thing with BBC. But yeah, it sort of did it shock me? Yeah, a little bit. I don't know what I thought everyone did. I think when you watch footballers, I think because you're so used to watching the professional men's game, then all of their job is footballer. And I think, when you watch the women and it's, with the women's games higher profile than it has been over sort of previous years.
Yeah.
You look at, when we watch Wrexham women, I think you forget that they're semi-professional.
And so they do have other jobs. Yeah, so that they're studying
their job isn't footballer. So I think that's what sort of shocked me more. She's going, oh, she got a job. Because and then you think about it and you go, of course they got a job because they're not fully professional.
I'm sure one of them, and I'm not 100% sure who, I've got a feeling it's Lily.
Yeah.
I'm sure, whether she still does or whether she's left now, but I'm sure she went to the same school as Alfie goes to now.
Oh, did she?
I'm sure. I've read that somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm obviously not going to announce it on here because I don't want people stalking my child at school. So yeah.
I think I got that impression watching the documentary that's where she went. Yeah.
I'm sure she was on the Welsh documentary about Wrexham as well.
Possibly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be on that.
We're going to be on that.
Yeah. We'll talk about that another time. It's nice to see the women get their own episode then, though, because they've achieved so much.
Yeah.
They have achieved so much, and it's nice to get that recognition. And we knew Rob was quite heavily involved and went to games quite a bit, and he was very passionate about getting the women's team to a level where they could turn them into professionals and then focus on this. And I think they're probably going in the right direction.
100%.
Yeah.
They've actually got a game today against Cardiff.
Well, when this goes out...
Sorry. when this goes out, they would have had a game against Cardiff.
Yeah.
Obviously, at time of recording, we don't know what the score is.
No.
But we're pretty sure it's going to be near double figures.
Yeah,
because they are doing so well.
Yeah, they are. They're doing excellent at the moment.
I was a bit the only thing that I would have liked from this episode. Obviously, we saw Rosie Hughes. She was very much
the focus.
And also was it
Lily as well? Yeah.
Great. I love those girls, but it would have been nice to see, like, the other girls that are in that team as well. It's sort of
I know.
It's sort of like, with the men's team, Mullen is very much the focus.
Yeah.
Ollie Palmer is very much the focus. But it's like, there are other people in that team as well that are getting. I know, I get it, but it's just like, give them a chance to.
You've only got 40 minutes there, haven't you? And I know what you're saying, but you also don't know the people who don't want to be interviewed for a documentary, and with the Wrexham,
I'd be all over it.
The Welcome to Wrexham documentary, the men's side of the Welcome to Wrexham thing is, like, look at players like James Jones, who's been there for 2 seasons. I don't think he's appeared once on the documentary, but
I think people are quite private, aren't they?
Yeah, that might be his choice. Do you know what I mean? We don't know, so it focuses on what it focuses. But yeah, it was
good episode.
Yeah, it was. We saw Wrexham legend Neil Roberts at the end of that as well, with his daughter talking about that. It's quite exciting because we're going to be speaking to Neil soon, aren't we? Yeah, so Neil's going to come on and be a guest on the show very soon. So we're going to have a little chat with him. But again, all the details of that will come very soon. Just some quick news. We were number 14 in the Irish Apple podcast charts for football this week. So thank you, Ireland. Can you say thank you, Ireland? Wasn't all of them, was it? But talking about Ireland, James McLean retired from international football.
He did.
He's got one more game. One more game to go.
Croatia?
I'm not.
Is that right? I don't know.
No. Wales are playing Croatia. I think they're playing New Zealand in a friendly. Are they?
Somewhat, yeah.
Anyway,
maybe
we
it's one
should
left.
have checked that. But yeah, he's going to play one more game as like a farewell. Probably a good thing for Wrexham, really.
I was thinking, maybe, is he doing that so he can focus on his Wrexham career, or is it just time for him to move on
I think so.
international games?
You get to a point as a player where you play for your club, you play for your country. Playing for your country can be quite intense. You get to a certain age sometimes where international break time is a time to focus on the club more than and it's quite hard traveling and doing that on top of what you're already doing. So
some exciting news though. Mullen is on standby for the Wales team.
He is. He's probably not going to get a call up, but it'd be great if he could. And I think I've heard a lot of interviews, people talking about him, where they've said, look, some of his goals, and it is, the way that he plays is what Wales are missing at the moment. Just a little bit of variation in the play and something different. Be great to see.
It's exciting, don't get me wrong, but
don't get injured on international.
Don't get injured and don't do it, because we need you fit and, helping us get to League One. So Rob Page, if you're listening, please.
Yeah, put him on the bench.
Put him on the bench.
But and bring him on for 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah, and don't let any players go anywhere near him.
No. You sound like his mum. 20,000 Wrexham shirts are going to be made available in the lead up to Christmas. So anybody who hasn't got a Wrexham shirt and really wants one but they're sold out, keep an eye on updates from the club, because 20,000 of them are going to be up for sale at some point from the club. And
whether that's 20,000 online or 10,000 in the shop, 10,000 online, we don't know.
We haven't got a clue. Just 20,000. We had a HP advert this week as well, didn't we?
I love Max. It's so funny.
If you haven't seen it, head over to Wrexham's Twitter page or wherever, or Google it. And yeah, it's Max as like one of the younger players in the squad.
Obviously,
trying to teach the older players, Mark Howard, Ben Tozer, and Ollie Palmer, about HP technology, and it's basically it's a laptop that can
I
turn
want one
into...
of them.
Yeah, no, they look
Buy me
great.
one for Christmas, please.
No, I think the best part of the advert has got to be Ben Tozer talking into a pen, going, "Draw a dragon." And Max
Draw
going,
me a dragon.
and Max going, "It's not a microphone, it's a pen." And Ben going, "Oh, fantastic advert. Love that the players are getting involved in stuff like this. You know, I don't think it's something we need to worry that, oh, they should be focused on the football. It's like a 50-second advert, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have taken long to do.
But how good is Max at acting?
I know, they all
Actually,
are.
all of them were like really, really. I mean, we've seen the final advert.
Yeah.
We haven't seen how many times it took them to do the takes.
That is true.
Yes, I'd love to see a bloopers episode of that. That'd be funny.
Very quickly, we've got 2 games coming up this week. Tuesday the 10th of October at 7:30 kickoff, and this is the EFL Trophy game against Crewe.
Don't care.
Available for all fans on iFollow. It's at Gresty Road, which is called the Mornflake Stadium for sponsorship purposes.
Do you reckon somebody meant that it was the cornflake, but they like...
No, Mornflake is the thing that's sold in Aldi, isn't it? It's a brand in Aldi.
Is it?
Yes, look out for it next time.
Okay.
10,153 capacity. They're only 29 miles away, which is roughly about 50 minutes for us. We've had a 1,680 allocation. It's not been announced that it's sold out, but I tried to buy some tickets the other day just to see, and they weren't any available. We know all about Crewe. We only played them a week ago, so I'm not really going to go into too much detail. Prediction?
Oh, I don't care. 3-0.
3-0 to Wrexham. I'm going to go for 2-1 Wrexham. Okay, all right. Move on. Saturday the 14th of October, 3 p.m. kickoff against Salford at the Kairos.
Ryan will be 42.
Yes, it is my birthday on Saturday. If you want to send me a message, that's fine. It's available for international fans only on iFollow. They finished 7th on 75 points last season, and they lost in the semi-finals of the playoffs on penalties to Stockport. They're obviously owned by the class of 92, of which one of them is David Beckham, who was obviously Rob and Ryan's guest at Wembley when we played in the FA Trophy final.
He'll be there.
Yes, possibly. They beat Crewe 4-2 on Saturday. This season they've won 5, drawn 1, lost 6. They're 13th on 16 points, which is 4 behind us at the moment. The top scorer last season was Callum Hendry with 12 goals. Top scorer this season is Matt Smith with 5. Prediction?
Oh, because we're at home, and I'm quite looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
This, not just because it's your birthday. I'm gonna go with. I'm not gonna go with a clean sheet because I mean it's ridiculous. I'm gonna go.
We've kept 2 clean sheets in a week, so why is it ridiculous?
Well, babe, I was going to call you babe then.
It's fine.
Babe. That's what I call him. I think...
Like the pig.
Like the pig, yeah. Our predictions have been absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to punt and I'm going to say 3-2.
3-2. Yeah, they have been awful. My prediction for the Crawley game, I said we were going to win 4-2. I said there's lots of goals in this game.
There was one.
And there was one, yeah.
I did put on the post, actually, when we did our predictions, I did put, will this come back and bite Ryan on the bum?
Yes,
and it did.
Completely did, yes.
But we won, so it doesn't matter.
I'm going to go for, I think we'll play well. I'm going to go for a 4-1 win against Salford. Yeah, let's stick it to them. So a couple of people who got in touch just quickly. Pedavos said, great episode for last week. I'd give Okonkwo a couple of games, see what he does. He's young, he'll make mistakes, but if he can build chemistry with his defence, that can be solid. Well, he is, I think.
That's
very
what,
much
yeah,
so.
he's bedding himself in, isn't he?
Yeah, Fletcher, once he has the fitness Parkinson demands, is a no-brainer next to Mullin for me.
I can't even say this. Chalak the Wookiee.
No.
Wookiee.
Chelak the Wookiee.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a Star Wars reference.
Is it? Okay, great. Agree that last season they had lots of episodes, this is obviously to do with the documentary, that diverted from the football side of things, but I initially waited until most of the season had aired before watching, so it was a bit more of a struggle, I think that meant to say, this time around. I think once we look back on the full season, it will definitely be about the same. Lots more football to come, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So just if you want to get in touch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, or email us at wrexhamafc@gmail.com. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat. It's a mental health peer support group, and they run a weekly Zoom call on a Thursday, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The best thing to do is follow Dragon Chat-Steve Lloyd on Twitter for
Quick one. Actually, on Tuesday the 10th of October, it's actually World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
So perfect time if you're feeling anything, and you can't cope with anything, then get onto Steve's. Stop trying to hide the quiz from me. Get onto Steve's Zoom call, and he's a great guy. So
quiz time. So 3 statements, 2 lies, 1 truth. You've just got to pick. You know the score.
We know the score.
You know the score. Number 1. This week we saw episode 6 of Welcome to Wrexham, focusing on the Wrexham women's team.
Okay.
Number 1. Rosie Hughes scored a hat-trick in the first 11 minutes against Barry Town last week. Number 2, Rosie Hughes scored a double hat-trick on her Wrexham debut. Or number 3, Rosie Hughes scored a triple hat-trick against her former club, Denby Town.
I'm going to go with 1.
Number 1, Rosie Hughes scored a hat-trick in the first 11 minutes. Incorrect. It's actually Rosie Hughes scored a triple hat-trick against her former club, Denby Town. That was 9 goals she scored against them. Second one. So we drew 0-0 with Mansfield on Tuesday.
We did.
It was only the 3rd time we'd failed to score in a game this season in all competitions. Number 2. Tuesday was our first 0-0 draw in the league since October 2022. Or number 3, Tuesday was the first game this season where we didn't receive any yellow cards.
Well, that's not right, is it? I'm going to go with number 2.
Number 2, first draw since Wealdstone in October. Incorrect. It was only the 3rd time we'd failed to score in a game this season in all competitions. Rubbish. Crawley game on Saturday.
Me rubbish, or the fact
Number 1, Palmer always scores in the first half. The last time he scored a second half goal was over a year ago. Number 2, despite his height, none of Ollie's goals this season have come with his head. Or number 3, Saturday was the first time this season that Palmer scored, but Elliot Lee didn't.
3.
Correct, it is. So
because I'm sure, I can't remember which game it was, but he has headed a ball in.
He has headed a ball in,
He's headed a ball in recently.
We play Salford on Saturday. The last time we played Salford at home, there were 6 goals and a red card. Number 2, Rob Langton played 3 games on loan at Salford City in 2019. Or number 3, Salford's first game of the season saw 18 minutes added on at the end of the game.
Number 3.
Number 3, 18 minutes? Incorrect. The last time we played Salford at home, there were 6 goals and a red card.
I was going to say that, but I thought...
I remember me and my dad went to that. We beat them 5-1. I think it was on Boxing Day. Beat them 5-1 and they had...
Were we together then?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. You went into football then, though, so it was a while ago.
I went shopping.
Yeah. It's my birthday on Saturday.
Is it?
It is, yes.
Oh.
Number 1, I have played at the racecourse on 3 occasions. Number 2, the last time I sat in the university end for a game was 1992. Or number 3, during my playing days, I only ever wore 1 number, the same number as Ben Tozer.
Oh my God, I don't know. Number 1.
No, I've only played at the racecourse twice,
not
3 times.
Oh.
It was, the last time I sat in the university end for a game was 1992.
I didn't know you then, so...
I mean,
you've never told me any of those facts.
Well, you're my wife, you should be delving into my Yeah. Well, thank you very much for tuning in this week. I hope you did better in the quiz than this loser here. And we'll see you again next week.
Bye.